Hello dear grade 6 students, and welcome to our new video from Module 5, Song Part 2. Please get ready, open your student's book on page 55 and your workbooks on page 47. To start with, let's read first our objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able first to identify the rule of could, couldn't to express ability, inability in the past. Second, you will be able to use the rule of could, couldn't in speaking and writing. To start our lesson, let's have a look at this first picture. This is Mark, an old man, in 2020. It means now, in the present. So we say Mark cannot skateboard now because, as you can see, he's old. However, look at the man. It is the same person. This is Mark, but in the past when he was young. So do you think that he could rollerblade or skateboard? Excellent. Mark could skateboard when he was young. So we notice here that number one, the sentence is in the present and we use can for the present. He can or he cannot. However, in the second one, we use could because we have the past. So can in the present and could in the past. Please open your student's book on page 55, activity 2. Let's see what we have here, dear students. Excellent. This is our song. Could you do it too? The title of the song. Here I have a question. What could Robert, Bruce, Mark, and Fred do when they were young? Great. Robert could play baseball when he was young. Bruce could ride a horse when he was young. Mark could rollerblade when he was young, and Fred could sail a boat when he was young. Excellent. If we examine our sentences, we notice that all the sentences started with the name Robert, Bruce, Mark, and Fred. These are the subjects of the sentences. So first of all, we put the subject. After the subject comes modal could, very good. And after modal could comes the verb. So we have play, ride, rollerblade, nail. But be careful here. All the verbs do not have a suffix. There is no s or es of the present tense. There is no ed of the past tense. And there is no ing of the continuous or progressive tense. So the verb after modal could should be in the base form. So the rule of the affirmative form is subject plus could plus base form of the verb. Let's have an example. Here we have a picture of a man. His name is Jeff and he is rollerblading. So we have to use the affirmative form. The rule is subject plus could plus base form of the verb. Let's see. Jeff could rollerblade when he was young. Jeff could rollerblade when he was young. Very good. Now let's refer back to our song, and I want you to circle the questions in the song. Please take some time and we will be back. We are back now. Excellent. There are 4 questions. Could you play baseball? Could you ride a horse? Could you rollerblade? Could you sail a boat? Very good. So, what do you notice? Excellent. The first word in the question is modal could, not a subject. Excellent. So, number 1, could. What comes after it? Excellent. It is the subject, you. Very good. Next comes the verb, of course, and it is also without a suffix. Very good. So here the verb must be in the base form. So the interrogative form is could plus subject plus base form of the verb. Great job. Okay, let's have an example in the interrogative form now. We have a picture of an old man. He is grandpa and he wants to ask whether he could jump. Okay, let's see. So we should start with could. Very good. So could grandpa jump when he was young? So could plus subject plus verb in the base form. Excellent. Let's come back to our song now. I want you to find the answers of the following questions. Could you play baseball? Could you ride a horse? And could you rollerblade? Great job! All the answers are the same. Yes, I could, yes, I could, and yes, I could. So here these are positive short answers. Positive means all of them replied with yes, and this is positive. Short answer means it was not a full sentence, but just only I could, I could, I could. So let's have the rule now. So first of all, yes plus I in all the sentences, and this is the subject. And lastly, we have could, which is the last word in the positive short answer. Very good. Now, unlike Robert, Bruce, and Mark, Fred did not answer yes. Look here. Could you sail a boat too? Fred's answer was no, I couldn't. No, I couldn't. So, is it here a positive answer? Yes, very good. It was not. It is a negative short answer. So, no, I couldn't is a negative answer. So, let's see the rule. So, the negative answer starts with no, of course, plus I, which is the subject. Very good. And lastly, we have couldn't. No plus subject plus couldn't. Very good. Now we are going to see the negative form of modal could. So we have in the picture a young boy who is crying. His name is Jack, and I think he was riding a bike. Let's see. Could Jack ride a bike when he was 5? What do you see? Yeah, great. No, he could not ride a bike. Or no, he couldn't ride a bike. And this one, pay attention, is a long answer. Here, the long answer is a complete sentence. No, he couldn't or he could not ride a bike. The short answer, can someone tell me the short answer? Excellent. No, he couldn't. No, he couldn't. This is the short answer of the question. Excellent. Pay attention here. Note here that we simply add not to modal could to make it negative. We simply add not to the modal to make it negative. He could, positive. He could not or he couldn't is the negative form. So, for example, he couldn't ride a bike, he couldn't play football, he couldn't climb a tree. Let's practice some examples together now. So we have a picture, we have some prompts, they, and the verb is practice ice skating. Can someone make the question, please? Great! Could they practice ice skating when they were young? What is the answer, please? Excellent! No, they couldn't. No, they couldn't. Next example. Who can make the question, please? The prompts are Hamad, ride a bike. Amazing! Could Hamad ride a bike when he was 5? The answer, please. Very good. Yes, he could. Next, we have a question and 2 pictures. The question is, what could you do when you were 6? Picture number 1. The subject is I, and we should use the verb swim. In the second picture, very good, the subject is also I, and the verb is rollerblade. Can you answer this question, please? Yeah, great! I could swim, but I couldn't rollerblade when I was 6. I could swim, but I couldn't rollerblade when I was 6. Very good. Let's have a look now at your student's book on page 55. In question 3, you are going to work in pairs. Tell your partner what you could or couldn't do when you were 6 years old. Use the ideas in the box to help you. The ideas are to the left. We have some verbs. And number 1, we took it as an example, which is play volleyball. Let's have a look at the 2 boys who are speaking together. So number 1 asks number 2, could you play volleyball when you were 6? The other boy answered him, no, I couldn't. And he started to ask him a question using also a verb from the box. Let's see. Number 1. Could you read a story in English when you were 6? No, I couldn't. Could you ride a horse when you were 6? Yes, I could. Number 2. Could you draw a cat when you were 6? Yes, I could. Could you speak English when you were 6? No, I couldn't. Number 3. Could you send an email when you were 6? No, I couldn't. Could you swim when you were 6? No, I couldn't. Let's move on now to your workbook on page 47, exercise number 2. In this exercise, we are going to read and complete, use could or couldn't and the verbs in brackets. I will do number 1 for you as an example. But before I start, I'd like to tell you and remind you that there are always clues that will help you find the right answer. For example, number 1, there is a question mark in the end, so this is the interrogative form. Here, we should recall could plus subject plus base form of the verb. So, in the first space, we put could. In the second space, we put the base form of the verb. And the sentence will be, could you swim when you were 4? Very good. And we have the answer now. In the answer also there is a clue. We have no. So the answer will be negative. So no, I couldn't. No, I couldn't. So pause the video now, take your time and work out the exercise. Here we go, we are back now. So who'd like to do number 2? Yes, please. Excellent, there is a clue. Not. So it is the negative form. Very good. So Greg couldn't ride a bike when he was 6. Number 3. Yes, very good. When my granddad was 20, he could sail a boat. When my granddad was 20, he could sail a boat. Number 4. Great. There is not, so it is the negative form. We found a baby bird in the garden that couldn't fly. We found a baby bird in the garden that couldn't fly. Good. Number 5. Great. This is a question mark, so it is the interrogative form. Granny, could you cook when you were my age? For the answer, it is yes, so it is the affirmative. Yes, I could. And last example, we have not. Excellent. This is the negative. 2 years ago, I couldn't skateboard, but now I can. Great job, boys. Thank you very much. See you next time.